How's everyone doing today? I'm going to start off introducing myself and then chat about my life, and we'll take it from there. So my name is Chetna Singh. I was born in India, grew up in a little town called Patna in the Bihar, and then went to boarding school in India, and came to the US about 28 years ago when I got married. Um, and have been in New Jersey since then. So I trained, my initial training was in India. And then I came here and I did my residency in internal medicine for 2 years and then switched to emergency medicine. And I've been practicing emergency medicine as a physician post-residency for, about a little over 19 years now. Interesting fact, I've always loved art. So I was 50-50 debating between medicine and art. And while I was in college, and actually not even in college, after high school, really, because in India, the system is different and you go to med school right after high school and there is no college and going to med school. So there was only one school I wanted to go to, and I got through the first stage, did not get through the second stage, and everyone was like, you could try again next year. And I was scared, and I was like, oh, what if I don't get in? But there's medicine is still there. Let me take the entrance exam for that and see if I get in, because I kind of like that too. So what does an 18-year-old know, right? So anyway, I am so glad I did that, because now I can do both. And it actually helps me, because medicine, and especially emergency medicine, is not an easy job. It is extremely stressful, and art really helps me balance it out. So I would say I made a good decision, unknowingly maybe. I moved again, like I told you, about 28, I've been in New Jersey for a good 28 years now. Not 28, 25 years, because I was still in med school when we got married. Art has helped me in so many ways. And being an ER doctor, as I said, is very, very stressful. So I think it's so important to manage your time, and just mentally, there is something about finding time for yourself and doing something that you really, really love. And I do like my job, don't get me wrong. I love it, but there is something that you need to de-stress when you come back from the hospital, and you just need to decompress and take away the stress. And everyone has different ways to do that. People who are extremely athletic. I'm not one of them. My husband loves to run, and he and I are both ER doctors. So that de-stresses him. If he goes for a run, that's his time. That helps him mentally. Me, if I pick up a paintbrush, that's my time. That's what I love. That just takes away all the stress from me. And I have painted since I was a teenager. My mom and dad still have my paintings in India, and and I've continued. There was a period, I think, for a good 7 or 8 years, where I hardly picked up the brush, and it was, doing residency with kids. We have 3 kids, and there was just no time. I would just maybe doodle or maybe do a little sketch here and there, but to actually paint, that there was no time for that. So it took a back seat for a few years until I said, you know what, I need to get back to it. And I'm so glad I did, because that is just a game changer. It totally changes your life. And I urge everyone to find, there's always something that you love to do. Is it maybe music, maybe singing, maybe running, like my husband? There's so many things. And if you find what you love to do, it makes you a happier person. It just helps a lot. So So yeah, so that is my background. I mean, yeah, coming from India and ER here. I did say I did internal medicine for 2 years as when I first started out, um, and I realized I was bored out of my mind. I could not do it for the rest of my life, so I switched to emergency medicine and did another 3 years of residency. And I'm so glad I did because I really do like what I do, and it's shift work. So I have days where I'm totally off. There is no office, there is no call, and I can devote that time to doing what I love to do. So I can be at home, and if my kids are older now, so I have the time to do have the time the full day to do what I would love to do. So I'll talk about a little bit about my art, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I'm going to answer them at the end of my talk. I'll reserve like 5 minutes, type them in, and I'm happy to answer them later. Stress busters, that's my big thing today. So people meditate. Art is my meditation. And one of the things that really inspire me is I'm a Hindu by religion, but Buddhism is, for some reason, has always fascinated me. Part of it may be because Buddha himself was actually a Hindu prince before he founded Buddhism. And interestingly, he got enlightened in the same state where I'm from. So it took me a while to get there, but I finally went with my husband, and we visited the place where he received enlightenment. So I'm going to talk initially about the first painting here. I don't know if hopefully everyone can see it. It's called Buddha Unchained. So I'm going to go there and tell you about it. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. But this is the face of the Buddha here. And let me see if I can get it closer. Maybe that will help. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So if you see, there is the blue and the red in Buddha's face. If you remember very elementary science, and this is where the physician aspect comes in. So the circulatory system, the heart itself, right? So we always painted drew the red portion is where the oxygenated blood comes in, and blue is where the venous blood comes in. So the venous blood is the one that is not the good blood. It has carbon dioxide, and the red portion is where the good blood, where it's oxygenated. So for me, this is the heart. There is the good and the bad. And I think that holds for everything in us too, right? We all have a good side and a bad side. Someone who says, oh, I'm totally pure. No, you're not. There is always some evil in all of us, some unhappiness, some sadness. And then there's the good, pure side of you. So, and these are the oxygen molecules. So they change the evil into the good. So this was actually inspired by a necklace that I saw from one of my friends who are fantastic entrepreneurs, and they had a beautiful necklace like this, and it was chains. And I was like, and in my mind, when I started to paint, I was like, oh, let me do those as an oxygen molecule, and then I'll have the Buddha here. So it's changing the bad portion of our life into the good, and that is Buddha Unchained. It's one of my favorite paintings. I just made a big print of it for my dad, so he really wanted it. I went to visit him in India, and I made a print of that for him. So that is one. And here's another Buddha painting that I want to talk about. So this is, again, the dual face thing that I had going, similar to that. But in this case, what's there is the young Buddhist monk, the little Buddha, the human form, and then there's the divine form. So it's a coming together. And Buddha received enlightenment under a Bodhi tree. So this is the tree around him, and it's where the human and the divine come together. And trust me, I'm not a religious person, but there is something about it that just speaks to me. And I love to paint what speaks to me. So this is and the lotus is very symbolic in Buddhism. So that portion's there. So yeah, that concludes my Buddha series, hopefully. So now let me talk about back to the ER, right? So we all know about COVID, and it's what a life changer it's been. And my husband and I both ER physicians, so you can imagine the stress. We both work at the same place, and when COVID first came, no one knows about this disease. So there's always stress in the ER. This was just added on, and you didn't know. You were scared. We were all scared. You didn't know whether you'd make it or not. We've seen, so many people die. There were days where we would be pronouncing multiple people at a time, and it was just a very, very extremely stressful time. So there was one day I came back, and I think it was actually exactly a year ago, and in March, and I painted this painting, and it took me a couple of days. It's a small painting, but it's a very intense painting. So this is called Frontline. Just a little the shine. Here we go. It's shining a little bit, but you can see. So this is really, it's not just the physician, it's everyone in the medical field. So if anyone thinks it's just the physicians who are doing it all, it's not. We could do nothing without our nurses, without our techs, without the whole system together. We all function together. We are a family. And so this is Frontline for all the frontline workers out there. And so it's almost like, you're holding the rod of medicine, but it's just like, I will not let you go through. I will stand, so that was just my inspiration. And I sat down and painted that in oils. And it was, I don't know, just something that came to me. And I'm sorry, there was a question. I'll try to answer it all at the end. I'm just not very good. I need glasses to look at all the questions because I can't read them. So I'll get back to you at the end. So yeah, this is all oils, and I had done prints of that, and we donated all the proceeds to Homework Strengthen for the families that were affected by COVID. And so this is Frontline. Let's see, what else can we talk about? So all right, so Buddha is not the only inspiration. I am really, my number one inspiration, is travel. We love to travel. And oh gosh, before COVID, we had traveled so many different places, and I've done paintings based on my travels. So it's almost like, people write diaries. I don't write a diary, but I document my travel, my inspirations from it in a painting. And so before COVID, I think maybe not 2019, my husband and I had gone to Barcelona. So I'm going to show you that painting and tell you a little bit about it. Let me see if I can take this off and we'll put that one on. It's a heavy painting, so bear with me. Hopefully I will drop this. So when I go to a different country, I try to book tours with local guides, because I think a local person has so much more knowledge than you could get, like, with a regular, reading about it or what have you. And Gaudi is I've read so much about Gaudi, and I wanted to see his work, and I was so excited about it. So we did a Gaudi walking tour, and it was fabulous. Saw so many different things, and this painting is just, it gets together most of it. So I don't know if any of you have been to Barcelona or not, but the first, if you see the windows below, those are, that's from the Casa Batalo. I'm terrible with pronunciation, so please forgive me if any of you are, you know, rigid about that. So that is, that's very, if you type in Gaudi, I bet you, and you type in images, you will see these windows. They are like classic Gaudi architecture. And so I painted them in oils, and above that comes the Park Güell. That was all designed by Gaudi, and it's all mosaics, and it just, it's beautiful. It just extends, and like these walls extend down, and you take pictures around it. And so that extends right there. And Gaudi started and ended his career with the Sagrada Familia, which is still in construction, believe it or not. And it is such a wonderful, wonderful cathedral. It is truly amazing. So up in, by all the way at the end towards the sky, you'll see the Sagrada. And that, the Sagrada Familia is like up there in the sky. You can actually see it from one of his buildings. There is, in the Sagrada, there is multiple statues, but, and again, this is too far for you to see, but this is the one that's over here is the back of Jesus. So Jesus looking down, and he's like, when you go to the Sagrada, you'll see different statues, and you can see the back, you'll see the front, obviously from the front, but as you climb up, you can see the back of Jesus looking down. And that portion is over here. I did other little smaller things. And that's also conquering fear. Art is also conquering fear. So I cannot stand lizards, cannot stand them. But, and I'm mortally scared of them actually. But in Park Güell, there is this mosaic lizard that Gaudi did, which is like beautiful. So I was like, I'm gonna paint it. And I hate painting lizards, but I did it and I actually like it. So I had it cut out, and I was going to maybe collage it on the frame, but I haven't gotten down to that yet. But this is the lizard. So it's all like little intricate patterns and little mosaics that is there. So yeah, I'm actually holding a lizard, conquering fear, you know. So that's yeah, so that's travel. I mean, I've done paintings of Mexico and gosh, of course India, because you know I'm from there, and that's always inspires me. There's Paris, which one of my favorite cities. So Istanbul, so all different things, and Istanbul I like did the tiles instead of doing like a whole, you know, big painting. I did more watercolor tiles for that. That's one of the inspirations. I'm going to talk about my next one, which is totally different from travel, and that's horses. I did not grow up with horses, but there is something about, I don't know how many people have it, but you know, they say something about a spirit animal, and horses are my spirit animal. I love horses. So I've drawn horses all my life, from my teenage years, even when I didn't see one. And I started riding this last year after when it started slowing down. We moved into this area in New Jersey 19 years ago, where and it's all horse farms and golf courses. And my husband and I were like, this is perfect for us because he loves to golf and I love horses. And I was like, I'm going to learn to ride. Well, 19 years later, I still hadn't learned to ride because I was running around between work and swim lessons and tennis lessons. And And I was like, no, it's time now. So yeah, I finally learned, I'm learning to ride, which is awesome. And let me show you some pictures of the horses I did. So let's see, this is one. And this is all knife work. So there is no brushes involved. So it's just a very raw kind of painting. And this is called the Orchid Horse. And let's see, I'm doing a smaller one right now. Actually, I do multiple paintings at a time, so I get bored very easily. So I have like 3 paintings going on at a time, and then I'll start and devote some time to one, and then I get bored, then I go to the next one. So this is a horse I'm doing for my cousin right now. He was actually a winner in a big race. So the family owns it, and I'm just about 3/4 done. So hopefully I'll finish it soon. So that's about horses. And lastly, I am so inspired by people. So this painting is, I think you'll recognize it, Amanda Gorman. So I listened to her poetry the day of the inauguration, and I was like, man, the young generation, that's our hope. You know, these people have like such insights, such beautiful lines that she had to say. I sat down, literally like got off from the inauguration, picked up my brushes, and I did this in 3 hours after. So on the day of the inauguration, I finished this. And yeah, she is just one hell of a person. So Amanda Gorman, people who inspire me. And so let me talk about also what I'm doing with my art. So I always want to do something new. I told you this already. I get bored easily, so I need to constantly do something new. And so a couple of years ago, I started taking my paintings and printing them on silk, and have a scarf line with that. Recently, I got this beautiful printer, and I'm very excited about that. And it's a big, like, professional printer, and I'm starting to print some of my artwork now. I just did, let's see, let me just get this out here. Yeah. So these are prints, actually. I love inanimate stuff too, which, you know, I love a good glass of wine. And this is more, it's called Cheers, the series. So this is watercolor, and this is a glass of whiskey. And then I did a martini glass with that. So I used to be very scared of watercolor because my go-to is oils. So this is something that is, you know, something new, and I'm very, very excited about it. Okay, and I think it's almost, what, 4:27. Okay, so our time is almost done. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at the questions. All right. How do you decide to take your paintings from canvas to scarves? Oh gosh, how did I decide? I decided actually, I was looking at my first painting, if you remember the Buddha Unchained, that painting. I was looking at it and I was like, oh, it would be cool to wear this. So I started, I actually just took a photograph and I sent it to a printer and they said, oh, it's silk printer. So I tried to do that, sent it to them, and it was a disaster. So learned over time how to do that. And I love scarves. So I was like, you know what, and I learned over time how to take the pictures. And it's much like a giclée, like an art print that I just showed you, except that it is printed on silk. So yeah, the first painting is what inspired me, and that was my first scarf, the Buddha Unchained one. And thank you, Jen. Thank you for the compliment. How did you start painting? I started painting in boarding school. I think, oh gosh, probably in my teens at some point. And I had a fabulous teacher in, I think, ninth and 10th grade. And she really inspired me. And Mrs. Dingra, I still remember her name. And I continued from there. So yeah, and my dad paints, my mom I've seen paintings from my mom too. And yeah, it's definitely in the family. My brother's a designer. So Istanbul is amazing. All the mosaics, especially oh yes, I love Istanbul. Let me, you know what? I'm gonna show you. I wonder if I have it here. Yes. I don't have the actual painting here, but I have it on the scarf so you can see. These are the mosaics. So I did this in watercolor, and then actually it was ink pens, and then painted it. Yes, the mosaics are absolutely gorgeous, and the blues are just amazing. I love them. So yeah, and I would go back in a heartbeat. I love the horses. Yes, something about being wild and free. I agree. They're definitely my spirit animal. What company do you use to transfer your art into the scarves? So I do all the transferring myself. I take the pictures, I have the file, and then I send the file to the printer. So the printer is not from here. The silk is, I've used silk from different parts of the world. And as much as everyone has stuff to say about China, the silk from China is the best silk. So I do get my silk from China, and that's where the printing happens, and then I bring it over. Yeah, and the cashmere is from the Mongolian region, because it's the Alishan region, which has the goats that are just specifically for the cashmere. The underbelly of the goat is where you get the cashmere from. So yeah, so that's yeah. I think our time is up, and before I go, I would just tell you a couple of things. One, do what you love. You know, even if it's 5 minutes a day, do it, because it changes your life. And there's never a right time to do something. You know, if you're waiting for the right time, you'll wait forever. Just dive in, do it, and you'll be a happier person. And I will be back on Girls Night Live, I think, on the 28th. So if you are around, I'm going to be introducing my new line of scarves, and it's inspired by Monet's garden in Giverny. And I was there a couple of years ago. It is everything that I thought it would be, and more. I hope I did some justice to Monet's memories, but it was just beautiful, and I hope you enjoy that. So thank you.